I like it. So I want to go rapid fire for a second.
Okay.
Because first of all, we're trying to throw Sheri off her game, and it's not working yet. We tried her. No,
are you? Y'all didn't tell me this when I
well, because you don't tell somebody you're trying to throw them off their game. No, I'm kidding. Of course not. We really are. You can tell we're geeks about this stuff. Okay, macronutrients, micronutrients, are they things that you track or you care about in somebody's diet?
The macronutrient in the traditional how many grams of, I don't give a rip.
Okay.
Because if you ran 20 miles yesterday, your macros are going to be massively different than next week when you're sitting and recording a bunch of podcasts and not doing things.
And by the way, it's not linear either, right? Like, if you think you burned 1,000 calories, that doesn't mean go eat 1,000 calories. Right. It doesn't work out that way.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. What?
Trust me on that. That's
how I live, though. I work out to eat.
No, it's not linear. And I've had clients before. This was years ago when I remember a woman came in my office and she said, I don't get it. I'm working out and I'm having trouble buttoning my jackets now. Everything's getting tighter. I was like, well, let's talk about what you're eating. She's like, well, after my workout, I feel really great. And so I'll go home and I'm like, oh, well, I can have this piece of cheesecake or I can have this whatever. Nothing wrong with the cheesecake if that's what you really want. But if you're eating it because you feel like you earned it through burning 100 calories, doing a little bit of weightlifting, no, that's what's happening. Anyway.
I feel personally attacked now.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay. Anyway.
All right. So by the way, a macro means
yes.
is
macro is carbohydrate, protein, fat.
Okay.
And alcohol.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything that has a calorie or it can be equated to a calorie.
Right. Okay. Whereas micronutrient, that's your vitamins, your minerals, omega-3 fatty acids, which technically is a macro because it's a fat. But we can talk about omegas in a minute. Mm-hmm. But the bigger thing is what's the proportion of things I like. So the powerful plate that I mentioned ago, that's more important than actually counting the grams of stuff. It's like if I sit down to eat and I'm at a 3, I'm physically hungry, I know I need to have approximately half vegetable, quarter protein, quarter carb, a little bit of fat thrown in.
Yeah, gotcha. You just want to eat some. So the leafy greens are the best for micronutrients, and I would say as a whole, at least here in the U.S., like we're woefully undernourished in that category, right?
Yes, and
okay, yes, and
we are woefully undernourished on that. Mm-hmm. Greens are amazing for micronutrients, but I don't want people to hear. Because the diet mentality, anybody who's listening to this, if you're listening to this and you have the diet mentality, you know what I'm about to say. Mm-hmm. You hear leafy greens are the best for micronutrients. Mm-hmm. And so now you're leaving out all of the reds and the yellows and the purples and all of the phytonutrients you're going to get from those other colors. Okay. It's really about variety.
All right. So don't stick with one thing. Just make sure you got vegetables.
Yeah. Make sure you got vegetables and make sure that it is a variety of vegetables.
Okay. Variety is in color. Color does matter, doesn't it?
Color does matter.
Okay.
And variety of texture, variety of everything. Because that's one of the things from a psychological standpoint. The more varied you can make it, the easier it is to get it in because it's not broccoli again tonight. We've had broccoli every night for the past 6 weeks.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Broccoli should be eaten every night. Going rapid fire again. So that was really helpful. And I think what you can really get out of that is some of the data that you have is the color of your food is something to think about. And if it's only brown, which we have a lot of people in this world that only eat brown, and I think of meat as brown.
Sure.
So that and potatoes. Get something that is colorful on your plate makes a lot of sense.
Eat a rainbow. That's the data around nutrition is so good because it can be so loose and flexible. Mm-hmm. It's eat a rainbow. It's eat when you're physically hungry, stop when you're no longer hungry. Yeah, go ahead.
Great.
Well, eating the rainbow, like I didn't grow up that way.